It was a bright and sunny day on Luoqing Pedestrian Street. The date was March 2, 2030. Tall buildings stretched up toward the blue sky, towering over the colorful signs of the shops below. But inside a specific office, the mood was much darker than the sunny streets outside. A rough voice broke the silence. "Kid, do you have any idea what borrowing 5 million from me means?" In the dimly lit room, two figures sat across from each other at a desk. A green potted plant sat nearby, catching the only bit of light in the room, while the two men remained mostly in the shadows. The older man held a cigarette between his lips. With a sharp click, he flicked his lighter. The flame flared up, lighting up the stubble on his face as red smoke began to curl into the air. The red smoke from the cigarette drifted up, curling around a fierce golden statue of a warrior standing in the corner of the room. Zhang Yang, the boss of the Dahai gang and the Luoqing Underground Bank, sat comfortably in his leather chair. He looked every bit the part of a crime boss, wearing a thick gold chain around his neck with his shirt unbuttoned. "My interest rates here are a bit high," Zhang Yang said, his voice calm but carrying a clear warning. Sitting across from him in a simple blue hoodie, the young man looked nervous. Shadows hid his eyes, but his posture screamed desperation. I know, Brother Zhang," the young man stammered. "As long as you're willing to lend to me, high is fine." Zhang Yang grinned, seeing how trapped the kid was. "All right then, 4% interest. I'll lend you 5 million, and you pay me back 7 million in half a year. Write me an IOU for 7 million first." He leaned forward, the light from the desk lamp reflecting off his face. "At the same time, you must provide collateral of equal value." The young man didn't hesitate. He hurriedly pulled a document out and held it up with a trembling hand. "This. Brother Zhang, this is the deed to my house, please take a look." It was a commercial housing contract. Zhang Yang took the papers and flipped through them, his expression unreadable. This house is a bit old," Zhang Yang noted, rubbing his chin critically. "At current rates, it's worth 3 or 4 million at most." Internally, however, Zhang Yang was laughing. He thought to himself, using a large flat of over 140 square meters to borrow from loan sharks. What a fat sheep delivered right to my door. He looked up, putting on a regretful face. "Brother Chen, you can't borrow 5 million based on this house alone. We might not be able to make this deal." Panic exploded in the young man's voice. "Don't. Brother Zhang, please help me," he begged, clasping his hands together in prayer. 4 million works too. I consulted a master who said my luck is great recently. I'll make back several times the amount." Zhang Yang leaned back in his chair, looking down at the young man with an arrogant expression. 3.5 million, Zhang Yang stated coldly. "Any more and I'll be losing money." Inside his mind, however, the crime boss was sneering. "TCH, he's young but clearly a gambling addict. I've got you exactly where I want you." To his surprise, Brother Chen didn't fight for a higher price. Instead, his face lit up with relief. Okay. Thank you, Brother Zhang," Chen shouted excitedly. "I will definitely pay you back very soon." Zhang Yang smiled slyly, feeling like he had won. "Since you put it that way, pay me back 4.9 million in 3 months. If you don't have the money, the house is mine." He tapped the desk. "If there are no issues, write the IOU. Funds will be released within 3 days." Brother Chen held the contract, his face cast in shadow. He paused for a moment. "No problem, but..." Suddenly, Chen looked up. His expression was no longer fearful, it was sharp and serious. "I have one condition," he said firmly. Zhang Yang raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh." 10 minutes later. The deal was done. Brother Chen walked out of the dark office building and back into the sunlight. Behind him, one of the thugs waved enthusiastically. "Thanks for your patronage. Take care, Brother Chen." As he walked away, Chen pulled out his phone. A sharp chime broke the noise of the street. Ding! A notification flashed on the screen. Mobile account received 3.5 million yuan. Brother Chen stared at the numbers. The desperate, nervous look from the office completely vanished, replaced by a cold, mocking smirk. "Heh, idiot." Chen's smirk deepened as he walked away. There was a very good reason he didn't care about the high interest rate or the strict deadline. After all, he thought to himself, in 1 month, the apocalypse will descend. Who is going to pay back your damn loan then? His mind drifted back to the horror he had already experienced once before. In his past life, a terrifying natural disaster had hit their planet, the Blue Star. It completely changed the world's ecosystem. Intense radiation from the sun had struck the Earth, causing the average temperature across the globe to shoot up to 50 degrees Celsius. It was a nightmare. Humanity had been plunged into a terrifying high-temperature apocalypse that lasted for 30 days. Cities burned, water dried up, and civilization collapsed under the crushing heat. He gripped his phone tighter, his mind already racing with plans. Now that I have the money, I need to prepare properly, he told himself. I absolutely will not live through those terrible days like I did in my past life. Meanwhile, back in the dim office, Zhang Yang was still laughing at his good fortune. He held the house deed in his hand, looking at it with greedy eyes. To get the money immediately, he actually dared to increase the interest. Zhang Yang chuckled, completely unaware of the disaster that was coming. As expected, gamblers don't deserve a home. The mood shifted. Zhang Yang's assistant, a man in a suit, looked at the paperwork with worry. Boss, the assistant said, his house is worth over 4 million. We pushed it down to 3.5 million and he agreed so readily. Could it be a trap? Zhang Yang smirked, looking confident and cruel. Don't worry, he said. I've seen plenty of gamblers. They'd sell their wives and kids for money, so what's a house to them? His expression turned darker as he gave his next order. Get the casino to manipulate things. When the time comes, not only will the house be ours, but don't let him off the hook either. Sell whatever parts of him can be sold. Understood, the assistant replied, bowing his head. Meanwhile, outside on the busy streets, the sun was setting over the city. Chen looked down at his phone and laughed to himself. There really are a lot of good people in the world, he thought sarcastically. Mention an interest hike and they send money on the spot. Thought you could scam me? A sharp, cunning smile spread across his face. You old fool, Chen whispered to the air. I'm the man who borrowed from every loan shark in Luocheng in a single day. You think I'm scared of your interest rates? His eyes burning with determination. Once the money is in my hands, don't even think about getting it back. Chen knew what was coming. He remembered the future vividly. In his past life, the earth had dried up completely. Vegetation withered away, creatures mutated into monsters, and all social order collapsed. It was a brutal world where supplies became extremely scarce. People became ruthless and cruel just to get a few necessities for survival. In that hellish future, possessing supplies didn't just mean staying alive, it meant sitting on supreme wealth. In that dark future, social status meant nothing. Even people who were once billionaires or famous superstars had to crawl on the ground. They had to wag their tails and beg just for a single ham sausage or even a cup of water. If they didn't, their fate was sealed. They could only wander the freezing, empty streets until they met a miserable, lonely death. Chen shook his head, clearing the dark images from his mind. Now that I've been reborn, he thought, bringing a hand to his chin, there is still time before the disaster strikes. It's enough for me to make arrangements in advance. As he walked, the noisy sounds of the city drifted around him. He passed a fancy display case. 2 women were chatting nearby, admiring the items inside. Isn't this the legendary ice cream assassin? One woman asked. It's said to be a luxury item even more expensive than the noble of ice creams, Hapidas. Chen paused, his expression darkening instantly. A specific, painful memory surged up from his past life. In my past life, he fumed silently, I couldn't bear to buy high-end ice cream for myself. But I was foolish enough to buy it several times for that woman, Lu Wanqing. He remembered her vividly, holding a pink popsicle, looking beautiful but uncaring, while he stood behind her like a servant. Feeding such high-end ice cream was even more wasteful than feeding a dog. He clenched his fists, feeling the phantom pain of his wasted money and effort. No, the more I think about it, the more my heart hurts, Chen decided, a new resolve forming in his mind. Yours truly is going to enjoy some too. Chen walked straight up to the counter with a wild look in his eyes. Hello, please give me 10 of every type of ice cream you have here, he shouted. The people around him gasped. 2 women standing nearby looked at each other in disbelief. For real? 10 of each kind, one of them thought, eyeing Chen's simple clothes. Can he afford it? Despite the doubts, Chen looked strangely handsome as he stood there confidently placing his order. The saleswoman behind the counter was sweating. She knew these were ice cream assassins, the most expensive kind. Customer, are you serious? She asked nervously. Our shop sells high-end ice cream. 10 of each category would cost over 20,000. Are you sure? Before Chen could answer, a mocking laugh came from behind him. Pfft. A woman with long hair and a purple dress looked at him with pure disgust. Look at his shabby clothes. If he can afford it, I'll kowtow to him right here in public. Chen stopped. He turned around slowly, looking puzzled. He stared directly at the woman. Beauty, are you serious about those words? The woman glared back, offended that he even dared to speak to her. What, you don't actually want me to kowtow to you, do you? What level are you? daring to come here and pretend. A dark, twisted grin spread across Chen's face. I gave you a way out but you wouldn't take it, you just had to jump, right? He chuckled menacingly. You're definitely kowtowing today, Jesus himself couldn't stop it, I said so. The rude woman's jaw dropped. She stammered, pointing a finger at him. You. Chen didn't even look at her anymore. He turned his attention back to the stunned saleswoman and spoke calmly. Please package all the ice cream by portion for me, he said, waving his hand over the display. I'll take it all. He pulled out his phone and held up the screen. It displayed his account balance, 2 million yen and 57 sen. The saleswoman felt sweat dripping down her neck. This was way above her pay grade. She was trembling. This. She squeaked. I need to ask the manager. Please wait a moment. A few moments later, a man in a sharp suit walked out. He adjusted his glasses professionally. Hello, I am the manager of this store, Fei Chi, he said politely. May I ask what Mr. Chen needs? Chen looked at him directly. Manager Fei, calculate how much all the ice cream in your store costs. You don't need to be open for business today. Manager Fei blinked behind his glasses. He quickly pulled out his tablet to check the numbers. Very well, young Master Chen, please wait a moment, Fei said. Inside his head, the manager was screaming with joy. Which big shot is this? He wondered. He just covered my turnover for the month. Don't look at how expensive these ice creams are. Actually, very few people buy them in a day. Most people just look. After a quick calculation, Manager Fei looked up with a bright smile. Young Master Chen, the goods displayed in the store today are worth 70,000 in total, he reported. Counting the inventory in the back, the total value is around 1 million. Chen kept a poker face, but internally he was pleased. That's not expensive either, Chen thought to himself. Might as well empty their inventory. Even if the apocalypse comes, I can hide at home and eat ice cream. He smiled confidently at the manager. Manager Fei, I'll transfer you a deposit of 300,000 first, Chen said. Deliver all the ice cream in your inventory to this address later. Manager Fei bowed low, treating Chen like royalty. Alright, brother Chen. You can rest assured with me handling things. With the deal made, Chen turned his attention back to the crowd in the shop. He flashed a charming smile at the onlookers who were still in shock. Ladies, feel free to choose whatever ice cream you want to eat in the store today, he announced, spreading his arms wide in a grand gesture. I, Chen Xiao, am covering it. The shop instantly erupted in excitement. The women who had been doubting him before were now looking at him with sparkling eyes. Really? That's great, one girl shouted, jumping with joy. This guy is so rich, another whispered in awe to her friend. Wow, he looks more handsome the more I look at him. You're right, but Chen's generosity had a limit. He turned his head slowly, his expression shifting from a bright smile to a cold, dark stare as he locked eyes with the rude woman in the purple dress. Of course, except for you, he said, his voice dropping to a dangerous tone. I'm still waiting for you to kowtow to me. The woman trembled, her face pale and full of fear. She stammered, unable to find any words to defend herself. Overwhelmed by the humiliation, she collapsed to the floor, burying her head in her arms. Chen didn't waste another second on her. He turned and walked out of the shop coolly, leaving the broken woman behind him. If you knew this would happen, why did you act so pretentious, he thought to himself with a scoff. A little while later, the sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the peaceful trees in the park. Chen sat on a wooden bench, finally taking a moment to relax. He unwrapped one of the expensive ice cream bars he had just bought and took a satisfying bite. As expected of the assassin, he noted happily, enjoying the rich flavor. The taste and texture are top-notch. Chen sat on the park bench, enjoying the cold treat. But the ice cream wasn't the only thing on his mind. He looked at the empty air in front of him, his eyes focusing on something no one else could see. Plus my, he murmured. Suddenly, the air in front of him twisted. A strange, pitch-black square appeared out of nowhere, hovering silently. It looked like a hole cut straight into the world. Chen looked at the dark void with satisfaction. It can keep the items inside in their current state forever, he noted. I can have fresh ice cream anytime. He tossed the shopping bag he was holding into the black square. It vanished instantly, stored safely away in his personal dimension. A greedy smile touched his lips as he thought about what this power meant for his future. With this, celebrities, young models. I can summon them at will, he laughed to himself. Just thinking about it feels good. He looked down at his own hand, flexing his fingers. This power was a surprise, even to him. I just didn't expect that even my ability would be reborn with me, he thought. Originally, abilities only started awakening one after another after the apocalyptic disaster. He didn't know why he had it early, but he knew it was a game changer. Although I don't understand it, this will be my biggest trump card from now on, he decided. With his money secured and his special ability ready, Chen began to list the next steps in his plan. Next, I should build a safe house, he told himself, ticking items off his mental list. Cold storage, weapons, and energy reserves. Sigh, there are still many things to do. His train of thought was suddenly interrupted by a cheerful, high-pitched ringtone coming from his pocket. Ring ring, the little fairy is calling. The screen lit up, displaying a photo of a woman with long, wavy hair. The name above it was Lu Wanqing. Chen stared at the phone, his brow furrowing. Of all the people to call him right now, it had to be her. It's actually her, he thought, feeling a wave of annoyance wash over him. Such bad luck. Chen Xiao stared at the name glowing on his phone screen, Lu Wanqing. The memories hit him instantly, dragging him back into the past. After his parents had passed away, she had entered his life like a savior. She was beautiful and kind, or at least, that's what he had believed. I was too stupid back then, he thought bitterly. I thought she was the light in my dark world. But the reality was cruel. She wasn't there for love. She was eyeing the small inheritance his parents had left behind. He remembered her soft voice, which now sounded like poison in his mind. Chen Xiao. She had said one night, lying in his arms. My mom said if you want to marry me, that big apartment in the city center must be put in my name. Plus, I need a bride price of 880,000. She was like a bottomless pit. I know it's not cheap, but it's all for our little family, right? She had whispered, trying to manipulate him. Why not sell your family's house? It's old anyway. Chen clenched his jaw. In the end, she had even wanted him to sell the ancestral home that had been in his family for generations, just so she could buy a luxury flat in the city center. But the betrayal didn't end with money. The darkest memory of all flashed before his eyes. He remembered lying on the ground, beaten and helpless. A shadowy figure loomed over him, while Lu Wanqing stood by, watching coldly. Young master, the shadowy man said, pointing down at Chen. The person I mentioned, it's him. Weren't you looking for special materials? He definitely meets your requirements. When the apocalypse came, I did everything to keep her safe, Chen thought, the anger boiling inside him. But to protect herself, she sold me to a stronger man like I was just livestock. The memory was vivid and horrifying. He could still hear the cold voice of his killer standing over his beaten body. Nothing special about him, the voice had said. Do we have to eat him? Chen shuddered. In that past life, he had died a miserable death. He didn't even leave a whole corpse behind. Back in the present, standing in the park, Chen's eyes glowed red with fury. He stared at the ringing phone. Lu Wanqing, he whispered, a terrifying smile spreading across his face. Since you delivered yourself to me, let's properly settle this score. He swiped the screen to answer, his voice instantly changing to sound sweet and loving. Baby, calling me, is something the matter? He asked. Meanwhile, at a high-end hotel in the city, Lu Wanqing was walking across a luxurious room in soft slippers. She was wearing a white bathrobe, looking relaxed and pampered. She held the phone to her ear, putting on a fake, sad voice. Oh, I'm just out playing with friends, she lied effortlessly. I accidentally lost a gold necklace I really loved. I'm heartbroken to death. She waited for him to panic or offer comfort, just like he always used to. On the other end of the line, Chen's voice came through, smooth and generous. What else can be done? Of course, buy a new one for my dear baby. Lu Wanqing smiled, thinking she had hooked him again. But she couldn't see the dark expression on Chen's face as he stood alone in the twilight. No, Chen added, his grin widening into something demonic. How is one enough? Buy 10, wear them in rotation. Really? You, when did you become so generous? Lu Wanqing asked, her voice full of surprise. My luck has been good recently, Chen Xiao lied smoothly. I invested in some virtual currency and made a small profit. Since I made money, of course I have to spend it on my baby. Lu Wanqing frowned slightly. Virtual currency? She thought suspiciously. Chen Xiao, you didn't fall for some scam, did you? That stuff is weird. But Chen didn't give her time to think too much. Whether it's a scam or not, just watch if I make money in the next round, won't you? He said confidently. Playing small is boring, this time I plan to play big. I'm preparing to borrow some principal and invest more. His face was hidden in the shadows, twisting into a dark, predatory smile. However, this loan needs a witness, he said, dropping the bait. Baby, help me out. Once it's done, I'll split 5% of the loan amount with you as a fee for your trouble. Inside the hotel room, a gruff voice called out from the bathroom. What are you dawdling for? Washing for so long? Lu Wanqing ignored the man. Her eyes lit up with greed. She quickly did the math in her head. Sleeping with this old thing for a night only gets me 5,000, she thought, looking back at the bathroom door with disgust. But signing a paper for Chen Xiao gets me 50,000. She weighed the risks instantly. Risk? It's just signing a signature, she told herself. Besides, Chen Xiao is just a wimp, I bet he wouldn't dare trick me. She turned back to the phone, her voice dripping with sweetness. Honey, I'll be ready right away, wait for me, she cooed. She hung up the phone, completely unaware that she had just walked straight into a trap. Chen hung up the phone, his expression cold and calculating. Lu Wanqing. I'm waiting for you, he murmured to himself. He didn't waste any more time on her. He had much bigger plans to attend to. Standing in front of a large, older building, he turned to the construction manager standing next to him. Now, it's time to build my fortress, Chen declared. Right here. Within a month, I want it turned into a wall of copper and iron. He began listing his requirements, ticking them off one by one with absolute seriousness. Windows need bulletproof composite glass, installed with invisible burglar bars, he instructed, pointing at the structure. Walls reinforced to 3-meter bulletproof exterior walls. The seismic fortification intensity must be above level 8. The manager scribbled furiously on his notepad, trying to keep up. Chen wasn't done yet. Full roof paved with solar panels, plus independent power generation and water cycle devices, Chen continued. Equipped with explosion-proof doors. The access control system must integrate with an air purification filtration system to prevent the intrusion of external toxic gases. The manager wiped sweat from his forehead. He looked at his notes, then back at Chen, completely bewildered. Autonomous ecosystem, including 72-hour oxygen supply, dual verification of biometrics and mechanical locks. Chen raised a hand toward the sky, his silhouette looking imposing against the sun. In short, Chen said with finality, within a month, transform this into an impact-resistant house with a life support system. The manager stared at him, his mouth hanging open in shock. Doomsday delusion syndrome, the manager thought, looking at Chen like he was a lunatic. Did this bro watch too many sci-fi movies? The construction manager looked nervous. What? Can't do it? Chen asked sharply, staring him down through his glasses. I remember your resume stated you are a defense master, who designed safe rooms for top tycoons. The manager wiped his brow, feeling the pressure. Ah, Mr. Chen, your demands are very unique and high-end, he stammered. It's just that the budget. Inside his head, however, the manager was mocking his client. Another delusional tycoon brainwashed by doomsday theories, he thought. He has money to burn. Chen didn't hesitate. He held up his phone, showing a massive transfer ready to go. Deposit, 1 million, Chen said calmly. The remaining balance, you name the price. The manager nearly choked on his own breath. He stared at the phone in shock. Balance. I name the price, he stuttered. His heart began to race with excitement. Holy shit, he screamed internally. I met a rich idiot. One deal to achieve financial freedom. He quickly pulled himself together and grabbed Chen's hand, shaking it vigorously. However, I pay great attention to materials and quality. You must ensure it passes inspection. Chen warned. No problem. Mr. Chen, leave it to me, the manager promised with a fake smile. Guaranteed to build it for you solid as a rock. But as they shook hands, two very different plans were forming in their minds. Watch me rip you off hard, the manager thought greedily, seeing nothing but dollar signs. Chen smiled back, his eyes hiding a secret. Build away, he thought. When the apocalypse comes, where will you find me to ask for the balance? With the deal made, Chen walked away, his mind already moving to the next item on his list. The fortress is done, next are supplies, he muttered to himself. Medicine, food, daily necessities, are all easy to handle, but... Chen walked down the street, his mind deep in thought. He knew that when the world ended, the weather wouldn't be the only thing trying to kill him. In the apocalypse, imagining a silhouette holding a weapon, it is the human heart after law and order disappear. To survive against desperate people, he needed serious protection. Cold weapons like bats and knives are easy, a hardware store can handle that, he analyzed. But those hot weapons that can deal a fatal blow, those are hard to get. He pulled out his phone and opened a secure chat app. He had found a hidden channel that claimed to sell anything one could imagine. How do I buy? Chen typed into the chat. The reply popped up instantly on his screen. I'll DM you the address. Tonight at 8 p.m., don't be late. That evening, Chen arrived at the designated spot. It was an older residential street, dimly lit by street lamps. He looked around, feeling a bit suspicious. Choosing to meet in a place with so many people, he wondered to himself. Suddenly, the silence of the night was shattered by the sound of frantic footsteps. A woman with long silver hair burst out of the shadows, running for her life. Her face was pale with exhaustion. Behind her, a group of angry men were chasing her down the street. "Stop, you bitch!" one of the men screamed, pointing at her. The woman didn't stop. She looked terrified, pushing herself to run even faster despite her fatigue. "Damn it! Stop right there for me," another thug yelled aggressively. The silver-haired woman was trembling uncontrollably. She looked around frantically and spotted Chen Xiao standing nearby. He was her only hope. Without thinking, she rushed over and grabbed his arm, hiding behind him for protection. "Beg, you, save me," she cried out, her voice shaking with pure terror. Chen Xiao didn't shove her away. Instead, he looked down at the woman clinging to his clothes. When the light hit her face, his eyes went wide with shock. "It's her," he thought, his mind racing. Li Yuyu. He couldn't believe his eyes. He stared at her, completely stunned by this unexpected meeting. How could she be, in a place like this, he wondered. The thugs were ruthless. One of them, a man with blonde hair, reached out and grabbed Li Yuyu by her long hair, yanking her back violently. "Wah!" she cried out, tears welling up in her eyes from the sharp pain. Chen Xiao stared at her, the name echoing in his thoughts. Li Yuyu. For a split second, the dark streak vanished. In his memory, he saw a girl sitting at a school desk, bathed in warm sunlight. She wore glasses and looked gentle, smart, and unreachable. The top student goddess from middle school, Chen recalled. She was the light that countless boys looked up to. But the brutal reality of the present shattered the memory. The thug tightened his grip on her hair, forcing her to look at him while he screamed in her face. "Hand over the money," the thug roared, his face twisted with greed. "Or don't even think about leaving." The situation on the street turned even uglier. The thugs were losing patience, and their intentions shifted from robbery to something far more sinister. "Big brother, why waste words with her?" one of the lackeys sneered, looking at Li Yuyu with a predatory grin. "If she can't pay up, just let her pay with her body." "Heh heh." Before they could act on the threat, a cold, steady voice cut through the noise. "Let go of her." The thugs turned around in surprise. Chen Xiao stood there under the faint light, his hands at his sides. He looked completely calm, but his eyes were sharp and dangerous as he stared them down. The interruption sent the blonde thug into a rage. He let go of the girl and stomped toward Chen, fists clenched. "Where did this reckless punk come from?" he screamed, humiliated that someone dared to challenge them. "Playing hero in front of me? I'll cripple you first." But Chen didn't panic. As the fist came flying toward him, his left eye suddenly flashed with an eerie red light. Whoosh! Chen dodged the punch with terrifying speed, the thug's fist hitting nothing but air. "Ah! My hand!" The blonde thug screamed in pure agony. Tears streamed down his face as Chen Xiao crushed his wrist with a vice-like grip. The sound of bones creaking echoed in the quiet street. Chen didn't stop there. With his eyes glowing a fierce red, he moved like a blur. Crack! He twisted the thug's arm violently, sending a wave of unbearable pain through the man's body. The thug collapsed, unable to fight back. The other lackeys stood frozen, too terrified to move. Li Yuyu watched from behind. Suddenly, a strange blue light flickered in front of Chen's eyes. A digital window popped up in the air, glowing brightly in the darkness. Detected intense negative emotions, fear plus severe pain plus anger. Negative emotion harvesting system, activation successful. Chen stared at the floating text, completely stunned. System. I didn't have this thing in my past life, he thought, his confusion growing. The situation took a sudden, dangerous turn. The thug, realizing he couldn't beat Chen Xiao in a fair fight, grabbed Li Yuyu by her hair. He pulled her back violently, using her as a human shield. "Chen Xiao," the thug screamed, his voice cracking with desperation. "Don't move. Move again and I'll kill her." Chen Xiao froze. He couldn't risk Li Yuyu getting hurt. But just as the tension reached its peak, a heavy wooden plank smashed directly into the thug's face. The thug cried out in pain, stumbling back and releasing his grip on the girl. The other gangsters stared in total shock. Before they could figure out what happened, a man wearing a loud, colorful floral shirt landed on top of the fallen thug. He stomped the bad guy into the ground with a casual grin. The stranger announced loudly, "A bunch of grown men bullying a girl? Where's your shame?" Chen Xiao watched from the side, surprised by this sudden helper. The thug pinned on the ground roared in fury. "You're courting death." Seeing their boss pinned down, the bald gangster grabbed a metal pipe and charged at the stranger in the floral shirt. He swung the weapon with all his might, aiming to crush the new guy's skull. The stranger clenched his fist, ready to fight back. But he didn't need to do it alone. Chen Xiao stepped in instantly. With a serious look on his face, he moved to intercept the attack, his hand glowing with power as he prepared to block the strike. Chen Xiao didn't just block the attack, he countered instantly. Of annoyance, he unleashed a powerful kick that sent the bald thug flying backward. Chen Xiao stood tall, adjusting his stance. He glanced over at the stranger in the floral shirt. Chen Xiao and the stranger found themselves fighting side by side. They moved in perfect rhythm, like they had been partners for years. Chen kicked a thug in the chest, while the stranger swept another one off his feet. The dark alley echoed with the sounds of their fists and feet connecting with the gang members. Within seconds, the group of thugs that had been so arrogant just moments ago were lying scattered on the ground, beaten and groaning. Chen Xiao stared at the thugs with cold eyes. "Scram," he ordered. The gangsters didn't need to be told twice. Terrified by the beating they had just received, they scrambled to their feet. Screaming in fear, they ran off into the night, stumbling over each other to get away from the monster they had just provoked. As they fled, the blue system interface appeared in front of Chen's eyes again, rapidly scrolling with notifications. Fear, panic, severe pain, despair, humiliation +1. Negative emotion value exceeded 10 for the first time. Unlocked spatial expansion authority. Please harvest diligently, make it big and strong. Chen watched the numbers tick up, a faint smile playing on his lips. Harvesting negative emotions. Interesting, he mused. He dismissed the screen and turned his attention to Li Yuyu, who was still sitting on the ground. She looked up at him, her eyes wide with a mix of relief and surprise. "Chen Xiao," she said softly. "I didn't expect to meet you here, thank you." Chen knelt down and gently took her hand, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt?" He noticed her shivering slightly in the cool night air. Li Yuyu pulled the jacket tight, her face flushing slightly. She looked nervous and kept glancing down the street. "Thank you. I'm really grateful to you," she stammered, standing up. "I have to go first." "Yeah, be careful," Chen replied. Once she was gone, the man in the floral shirt walked over, grinning from ear to ear. "Brother, that hero saving the beauty act, impressive," the man laughed, giving a thumbs up. "My name is Mu Tsang, and you?" Chen looked at the man's face and realized who he was. "You are Mu Tsang?" Chen asked calmly. "Perfect, I'm the person who arranged to meet you." "Huh. You are that buyer," he exclaimed, throwing his hands up in disbelief. "Sky King covers Earth Tiger," he shouted, testing Chen with their secret code phrase. Chen Xiao looked at him with a completely deadpan expression. He didn't play along at all. "You are a fool," Chen said flatly. Mu Tsang froze mid-pose. The dramatic atmosphere shattered instantly. He stared at Chen, his face full of confusion and embarrassment. Immediately, the blue system window popped up in front of Chen's eyes. Detected strong negative emotions, dumbfounded +1. Dazed, awkwardness +1. Chen saw the points roll in, but he also saw how awkward Mu Tsang looked. To keep the deal moving, Chen suddenly broke into a goofy, wide-mouthed laugh. "Cough! Precious pagoda suppresses river monster." Chen shouted, finally giving the correct response to the code. "Brother, don't mind it, just a little joke to lighten the mood." "Damn! Brother, that joke of yours, you're something else." Mu Tsang said, clearly impressed by Chen's strange sense of humor. "Follow me." They walked through the quiet night until they reached a house tucked away from the main road. Inside, Mu Tsang brought out a wooden box and opened it to reveal the goods. Inside lay a heavy black pistol and a set of bullets. "Here, Russian goods," Mu Tsang explained proudly. "Sturdy and durable. But, not many bullets, use them sparingly." He handed the weapon to Chen with a friendly smile. "Seeing your skills are good, and you're, quite interesting, I'll give you a friendship price." Mu Tsang offered. "Consider it making a friend." Chen picked up the gun, checking the weight and the mechanism efficiently. "Not bad, thanks," Chen replied calmly. Mu Tsang watched him handle the weapon and nodded in approval. "Your movements are skilled, an expert." Mu Tsang noted. "Since there's no problem, then." Chen Xiao held the gun, weighing it in his hand. He looked at Mu Tsang with a serious expression, as if he were shopping at a regular supermarket. "By the way, brother Mu Tsang," Chen asked innocently, "does this gun come with a silencer? Is there a warranty card? Can you throw in another box of bullets?" Mu Tsang's jaw dropped. Sweat instantly popped out on his forehead. Ha! Mu Tsang shouted, staring at Chen in disbelief. I gave you a friendship price. Do you understand friendship price? Inside his head, Mu Tsang was screaming. People in the black market would fight for this at double the price. He fumed silently. And he wants a warranty plus gifts. Does he think he's buying home appliances? Might as well rob me. As Mu Tsang raged internally, the blue system window flickered into existence in front of Chen's eyes again. Detected strong negative emotions. Seeing that he had milked the situation for enough points, Chen shrugged nonchalantly. Oh, if not then forget it, I was just asking, Chen said, lowering the weapon. We'll do the price you said, I'll transfer the money now. The transaction was completed quickly. Chen walked away into the night, his mind already moving to the final piece of his puzzle. Done. Supplies and guns are secured, he thought, looking up at the moon in the dark sky. The only thing missing is... Chen Xiao arrived at the rendezvous point, a magnificent, glowing hotel towering over the city. Inside, Lu Wanqing was already waiting. Dressed in a tight crimson dress that showed off her figure, she looked beautiful, but her face was twisted with impatience. What took you so long? She snapped as soon as she saw him. My legs are sore from standing. Is that thing you mentioned really risk-free? Chen Xiao didn't get angry. Instead, he walked over and gently held her, his voice dripping with false sweetness. Baby, it's just a formality, he assured her, looking deep into her eyes. I love you too much, how could I bear to scam you? Lu Wanqing relaxed in his arms, her guard completely down. She remembered how pathetic he used to be. True, she told herself silently, a mocking smirk hiding behind her makeup. This simp almost sold his blood just to buy me a bag. He's too busy sucking up to me, I doubt he has the guts to scam me. With her doubts gone, moments later, they were standing in front of Zhang Yang. The gang boss sat like a king in his chair, flanked by his intimidating bodyguards. She signed the papers without reading the fine print. Lu Wanqing signed her name with a confident flourish, a smile playing on her lips. She thought she was just signing as a guarantor, a simple formality to help her boyfriend make a quick profit. This silly girl thinks she's just a guarantor. Once she signs this, the debt is hers. Across the desk, Zhang Yang lit a cigar. Thick smoke curled around his face as he stared at Lu Wanqing. He wasn't looking at a client, he was looking at prey. When she can't pay it back, heh. The gang boss chuckled internally, his gaze sweeping over her. Then she can pay with her body. Lu Wanqing handed the document over, completely unaware that she had just signed away her freedom. Sign it. Sign your indenture of selling yourself, Chen Xiao mused silently. Your greed will pay off the remaining balance for my safe house perfectly. He leaned back against the cushions, feeling a sense of relief. The money problem was solved. Truly, unexpectedly smooth. Thanks a lot, Lu Wanqing, he thought. With the funds secured, Chen Xiao immediately returned to the most important place in the world, his future fortress. Back at the construction site, the work was progressing rapidly. The construction manager hurried over to meet him, looking eager to show off the progress. Scene shift to 1 month later. Boss Chen. You can rest 120% assured, the manager declared loudly. All the materials in this house. The construction project was finally complete. The quality is good, thanks, Chen said, inspecting the sturdy work. The manager grinned, holding the bank card he had just received. Call me if you have more work, he said cheerfully, completely unaware that the world was about to change forever. Chen Xiao walked inside and locked the heavy door behind him. The safe house was quiet and secure. He sat down on the sofa in his living room, the soft cushions offering a moment of peace before the storm. Suddenly, the television screen lit up with a breaking news alert. A reporter appeared, looking grave. Affected by unprecedented super-strong solar flare activity, the reporter announced, her voice tense, the entire globe will experience continuous extreme high-temperature weather. Images of a burning sun flashed on the screen. Temperatures in many places will break historical extremes. All citizens, please prepare for protection, the report continued. Chen Xiao watched the screen. Slowly, he reached for the black pistol lying on the table and gripped it tightly. Finally, he whispered, the weight of the weapon reassuring in his hand. He stood up, the orange glow of the setting sun, or perhaps the burning sky, illuminating his determined face. It's here, he declared. The apocalypse had officially begun. Chen Xiao's eyes narrowed, glowing with a fierce, red intensity that matched the chaos erupting outside. Through the window, the world had transformed into a living hell. The sun had expanded into a massive, terrifying sphere of fire, swallowing the horizon and drowning the city in a blood-red light. The skyline of the city was silhouetted against the blinding heat. The peaceful evening was gone, replaced instantly by the scorching reality of the apocalypse. Chen stood alone in the darkness of his fortress, his figure framed against the burning sky. He didn't flinch. He didn't look away. While the rest of the world was about to scream in terror, he stood in silent, cold determination. The heat had arrived. The game of survival had officially begun. So that's all for today. If you like this story and want to see the next part, please do like and hype this video and press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, peace out.